So the big news is in the NFL is the release of Russell Wilson, which again wasn't the story that shocked everybody. I think everybody was just kind of waiting for it to become official, and now the organization has made it official with their statement, and Russell has released a statement thanking his teammates and the organization and the fans and all that. So that's a done deal, and it's amazing to think how quickly this went south for the Broncos. Like, it just did not work. And considering what they gave up, and I tweeted this out. This was from Andrew Siciliano. Broncos gave the Seahawks 2022 first rounder, 2022 second rounder, 2022 fifth rounder, 2023 first rounder, 2023 second rounder, Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris for Russell Wilson and a fourth.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. And then they signed him to the deal that they signed him to, and now they're going to eat $85 million. So they gave up all that draft capital
this year, and then they have more dead money the next 2 years.
It's just wow. Wow. I don't. You wonder if ownership, if they went to Sean saying, is there any way we can make this work? Because you look at Russell's numbers and how they played, and their O-line is not good either. Luckily for them, he's mobile. Otherwise, he would have gotten killed, and they would have won fewer games. But you look at his numbers; he put up decent numbers. I mean, he seemed to be the least of their problems in watching the Broncos. So you wonder if anybody went to Sean saying, is there any way you can make this work? Because of A, what we gave up to get this guy, B, what we signed him to, and C, how punitive it will be should we decide, no, it's untenable, can't do it.
It is stunning because of that. And it does feel like Sean Payton just has way too much power there. So who knows what happens in that situation. But we've seen kind of the downfall of coaches now when they get that GM all authoritarian power. I mean, it's why Bill Belichick isn't coaching anywhere. It's why Mike Vrabel kind of got on the outs in Tennessee. So for Sean Payton to kind of feels like almost unilaterally say, no, can't do it, can't work with him, and to move on from Russell Wilson, you rattled off everything they gave up in the trade, Bob. But then, the extension, I think, compounds this as maybe one of the worst NFL moves of all time. Because you give up that all in the trade, and now they're past that. So had the Broncos just traded for Russell Wilson, they give up a king's ransom for him, but now you're through that. 2 years later, you're back, you have your normal draft picks. But then to sign him to a 5-year, $245 million contract and only get 2 seasons out of it. 2 middling seasons out of that. And yes, not all his fault, but to never do anything that you thought.
They did bench him in the second one.
So to bring him in thinking, we're making this move because Russell Wilson's the piece to take us to the Super Bowl, and then to have it swing around and say, well, no, he is such a problem for this roster, or maybe considered to be by Sean Payton, that we have to cut him and have an $85 million dead cap this season, and then like a $50 million next year, and then there's something the year after that. I mean, you're crippled. Your team is crippled for the next 2 to 3 seasons when it comes to either extending guys or signing free agents.
It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, and I think you're right that Sean Payton has a little too much say-so there. Wild. You can say what you want about Russell, and he didn't live up to the contract. Certainly, the first year was a disaster. Again, this past year, you want to go by quarterback rating or touchdown interception ratio. He's a top 10 quarterback. Completing almost 67% of his passes. You had other problems outside of Russell, yet they kind of put it on him, tried to. The shady part of that whole thing was them basically saying, you need to change your contract, the injury guarantee, or we're going to bench you.
Yeah.
Come on, man. What are you doing? I mean, the NFLPA is all over that. I mean, it's bad business, to say the very least. The organization looks bad. Peyton looks bad. And they're not a sympathetic figure. You kind of look at Peyton just lighting him up on the sideline, and Russ just sat there and took it. He didn't see him barking back. He just kind of nodded his head and took whatever Peyton was saying to him. You're just like, dude, really? This is how you're gonna comport yourself? You look bad.
It is funny how that has shifted because, I know there'll always be the faction here that will just root against Russell Wilson regardless. We've tried to figure out why. But when the trade happened, we rooted against him just because it affected the Seahawks draft pick. So you rooted against Denver then.
Yeah.
But now last year, seeing everything that Sean Payton did, all of a sudden, Russ is the sympathetic figure. And you're like, well, hold on. This guy is not the sole problem here. You can win with quarterbacks who you don't deem to be superstar worthy. Super Bowl winning teams have won with quarterbacks who aren't superstar caliber. Mm-hmm. So you can certainly build around a quarterback who is not a top 2 or top 3 quarterback in the league for Sean Payton to just come in and say, no, you know what? We just have to get rid of this guy. If I'm the GM there, I'm like, well, okay, how are we going to do that? Show me the money where we can do this and make our team viable for the next couple of seasons.
Jared Stidham.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I don't know what their plan is.
They're going to have to draft a quarterback because he's got a cheap rookie contract, but you're not going to be able to sign anyone else.
Yeah, what a bad deal. What a bad deal. And yes, somebody said, can we officially say that the Seahawks won that trade? I think it's safe to say that. I feel pretty confident in saying that without much blowback on that one. So yes, I would say they did win that trade.